All right, Titans fans. There's a big report coming out of the NFL Combine that the Titans are very interested in Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. And after doing some research on why it would make sense for the Titans, looking at the other prospects in the draft and looking at the Titans stand where they stand right now, especially financially, not only do I think it'd be a good idea, I would be over the moon to draft Jeremiah Love in a situation where normally I would say no to. I would say absolutely not to drafting a running back 4th overall, especially when the Titans have so many needs at other premium positions like edge rusher, wide receiver, corner. But with the prospects in this draft and the Titans' financial standing, like I just mentioned, it brings some nuance to this discussion, and that's what I want to talk to you guys in this video and answer the question, should the Titans draft Jeremiah Love 4th overall? So let's break it down. We'll talk about the draft first, and then we'll get into the Titans' more specific aspect to it next. I do want to apologize that this video is out late. I did not want this to come out in the middle of the week, considering it's been almost a week since the Combine started, but at the same time, I recorded this video, I went to upload it, and I made the rookie mistake of deleting the video off my phone before it uploaded, and then of course, there was an error uploading, so I had no video to re-upload and fix it. So I have to redo it again, and that's what we're doing right now. But looking at the prospect side in the NFL draft for Jeremiah Love and his peers, this is not a great draft class. It's pretty notorious at this point, unless you've been living under a rock. This prospect list is not great compared to other draft classes, and if these prospects, especially in the top 10, if these top 10 prospects in this draft were to go into, let's say, 2024 or 2014, for example, like another draft class with more blue chip elite talent at the top, they'd probably be going mid to late first round. So it's an odd situation. It's kind of similar to last year's draft, where there wasn't a lot of elite talent at the top, but a lot of great depth throughout the draft. And so in that regard, like I said, it's similar. I would argue it's maybe a little bit worse, because last year you had 3 blue chip talents. You had Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Nash, and Genty, right? Who is the blue chip can't miss prospect in this draft? Fernando Mendoza? Maybe, but even he's got questions, similar to how Cam Ward had questions coming out and out of Miami last year when the Titans drafted him 1st overall. So it's definitely interesting in that regard, because the top guys at the draft, they have questions. Even Fernando Mendoza, like I said, has questions, but at more positions of need. Edge rusher, wide receiver, guys that could go top 10. Edge rusher, Ruben Bain. I love Ruben Bain. I want Ruben Bain. He would still be, I guess, my preferred selection right now because of the need and what I like about him as a player, but he's got questions. 30-inch arms. No edge rusher in the history of the NFL has ever succeeded with 30-inch arms. It has never happened, and there's a reason for that, because length matters on the edge. And if you don't have length on the edge, chances are against NFL caliber tackles, you're not going to be very good. But I do like Ruben Bain because of how he's been able to navigate that throughout college. He's definitely been able to hide his weakness well, similar to how Will Campbell did it in college at LSU. Of course, that didn't work out for him, especially look at the playoffs, but that's a major question. Then you have Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. He was an off-ball linebacker going to transition to edge. He absolutely nuked the combine. He was incredible, but will he be able to make that transition to edge rusher? Is that going to happen? I don't know. And then you look at David Bailey, great pass rusher, probably the best pure pass rusher out of these 3 guys, but has a lot of questions in run defense, and he's a similar skill set to Jermaine Johnson, who the Titans just traded for. I wanted to make a video on that, but honestly, Jermaine Johnson he's a starting caliber player. He's not an elite player or anything, and Devondre Sweat, I mean, Titans won that trade in my opinion, but wasn't really anything for me to like go crazy about and talk in depth about. But with that being said, I mean, those guys have questions. And then you get to wide receiver, Carnell Tate out of Ohio State, the wide receiver. And honestly, I mean, I'm not high on Carnell Tate at all. He's a glorified deep threat. He benefited off of Jeremiah Smith's presence, didn't run great routes, short to intermediate. That's not, I don't know, like he's just more of a deep threat to me. I don't know. I don't think you draft 4th overall, just a deep threat like Alec Pierce. He's just Alec Pierce. Like, why would I draft Alec Pierce 4th overall when I could get Alec Pierce in free agency? You know, I think he actually got the franchise tag. I take that back. But then you look at Jordan Tyson. Still has an injury that has not healed properly. He was supposed to test at the combine. Never did. Now injuries are a real concern for Jordan Tyson. I don't want an injured player at the top. Absolutely not. We've had issues with injured players, drafting them and also signing them to big contracts over the past few years. I do not want that. I do not want an injury-prone football player at the top of the draft. Absolutely not. Get out of here with that. And then Mekhi Lemon. Do you take a slot receiver at the top of the draft? No, you don't. And also, there's some reports coming out of the combine of his attitude. How legit is that? I don't know, but multiple teams have reported that their interviews with him were bad. So, I don't know. His draft stock is definitely going to drop at this point. He's definitely going to go in the middle of the first round, probably. I don't think he gets drafted top 10. Maybe he does by a team that's really that desperate, considering the prospect list that I mentioned, how it's not that great. Maybe that just gets him drafted in top 10 anyways. We'll see. But all these guys have questions, and out of all these top 10 prospects, which one has the least amount of questions and probably has the highest chance to be that can't miss blue chip prospect? Jeremiah Love. He is a certified great football player. He would fit really well in the Titans offense. We'll talk a little bit more about that here near the end. But it brings a very interesting question, because would the Titans draft based on their biggest needs, or would they take the best player available? And I think in order to understand that question, you need to understand what NFL teams do. How do they draft NFL players? And there's a strategy to it. You guys know about the big boards, right? The ones that Daniel Jeremiah makes, Mel Kiper makes, where they rank the 50 best overall players and prospects in the NFL draft. When you look at it like that, that's how NFL teams do it as well. They get a big board with all the prospects and rank them all regardless of position. And so, as an example, here's how NFL teams normally do this. They don't normally draft based on pure need. It's not like the Titans are going to draft edge rusher, wide receiver, corner with their first 3 picks. They could. It's very possible. But that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to. You draft based on value, not need, per se. Let's say the Titans are picking in the second round, and they have an option to pick some wide receivers like Chris Brazzell or Chris Bell, for example. Or they can draft a safety. A safety is a need for the Titans. They have Kevin Winston and Amani Hooker, but these are guys that like to play near the line of scrimmage, that like to play against the run, cover tight ends. They're box safeties. These are not roaming free safeties that hang out in the back end. Not like a Minka Fitzpatrick or a Jesse Bates or even a Kevin Byard, for example, right? So the Titans need that. So let's say that they're picking 35th, right? They're picking 35th overall, and they have a free safety that's ranked 37th overall on their board, and they have a wide receiver that's ranked 40th on their board. Because of the projection that this safety would be a better football player at their position than this wide receiver would be, you would take the free safety because that's a better prospect and would give you better value at that position. Right? Does that make sense? That's how NFL teams draft. So if you have a couple guys that are at positions of need, you don't just take the wide receiver because that's the bigger need. You take the player that you think is going to be the better overall football player, right? That's kind of the philosophy that NFL teams work with, and the Titans are, of course, going to work the same way. So that brings the question back to Jeremiah Love. Would they be willing to take a running back at number 4 over an edge rusher, which is definitely a bigger need, but Jeremiah Love is, in my opinion, going to be a better football player than Ruben Bain, than David Bailey. He is going to be a better football player than them. Is he going to be better than Arvell Reese? I don't know, but I will tell you this. Jeremiah Love has the best chance out of all these prospects to be great in year 1 right away and help to elevate this offense right away and help their side of the ball. Definitely. Jeremiah Love coming into the league would be a very good running back in year 1, in my opinion. That's not me being a Titans fan. That's me being a football fan, and I love me some Jeremiah Love. I'm not even a Notre Dame fan, but I watched multiple Notre Dame games this year, or this past year now, and he's great. He's good. He's very, very, very good. So that's an interesting question for the Titans to be in, or interesting predicament for the Titans to be in, and then we'll get to their side of things now, because here's the deal. The Titans, they have $100 million in cap space. They have buku bucks. They have so much money, they could go to a club and start throwing ones at some shaking booty if they wanted to. I mean, they got the money to do it. They have more money than they know what to do with. So, theoretically, if you were to go out and get Trey Hendrickson in free agency, get another edge rusher, and now you have a rotation of 4 good pass rushers, which, by the way, good football teams have 3 good edge rushers. Great football teams have 4 good edge rushers. So, they could do that and fill that need, and then maybe you sign a Wan'Dale Robinson in free agency, which, by the way, probably will be a Tennessee Titan, according to reports coming out of the NFL Combine. So if you fill wide receiver and edge, right? Your two biggest needs, in which the prospect pool is at the best in the top of the NFL draft. I mean, you're not going to draft a corner first overall, or fourth overall. No, absolutely not. There's no corner in this draft that's not even close to being worth that. So, I mean, I guess maybe Mansour Delane, the corner out of LSU, he's probably going to go top 10, but I wouldn't draft Mansour Delane fourth overall. I don't think he's going to be that good. But now, if you have filled the need at wide receiver and edge rusher, that would theoretically open up the possibility for you to take Jeremiah Love at fourth overall. And at that point, you could take the best player available. And at fourth overall, if Mendoza goes first, Arvell Reese is going second to the New York Jets. That is no question. And then number 3, Cardinals are probably going to draft Spencer Mawagoa, the tackle out of Miami. They need an offensive tackle. They might take Jeremiah Love. It's possible, with James Conner future in question. Maybe. So who knows? But, I mean, if Jeremiah Love's on the board at 4, he's the best player available regardless of need. He's the best player available. And if he's the best and the Titans need a running back, Tony Pollard after the year is gone, in my opinion. I don't think you would want to keep Tony Pollard if you have the choice to draft Jeremiah Love. So, I mean, do you take that opportunity? And not to mention, you fill up these needs, you take the best player available at running back, or at overall with Jeremiah Love at running back. You can wait for 2027, theoretically, where 2027's draft class is not projected just to be a really good one. It could be one of the best all time, one of the best in a minute, right? So maybe you wait till there's a better prospect pool filled with blue chip elite talent in the draft next year. So there is that thought process. And also, the Titans have 8 other draft picks. They may not have, these draft, again, may not have high-end talent, but like last year's draft, it has great depth. And edge rusher is a position, and wide receiver is a position that is full of depth in this draft. Look at last year. Why do you think the Titans were able to hit on Chim DK, Alec Iomanner, and Gunnar Helm? It's not just because Mike Borgonzi is good at drafting players. It's because there was great depth throughout the entire draft, right? So they were able to get great value on these picks because there was a good overall high floor of talent pool. So the Titans have a bunch of draft picks. They could just address these needs later in the draft, right? You know, prospect number 15 is not far off from prospect number 30, for example, or prospect number 40. So it's not like if you miss out on one of these guys, sure, you're missing out on the best prospects, but it's not like if you go pick an edge rusher in the second round, it's not like you're all of a sudden falling off a cliff in terms of talent. Not at all. The depth is strong here. And there's another aspect to it for the Titans where they just need good football players. Titans don't got a lot of good football players, guys. We don't have a good roster right now. So, I mean, take the players that are really good football players, and Jeremiah Love is going to be a really good football player. And you look at Jeremiah Love and what he could bring to the offense. First of all, great speed, ran a 4.36 at the combine, and you look at some of his combine numbers in the drills compared to other elite running backs that were taken at the top of the draft. He's in the numbers with Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, right? Christian McCaffrey. He is up there with the best of them, which could insinuate that he's going to be at that level. I don't know that. We can't know that until he's obviously drafted, but it definitely suggests that he is worth the hype. He is worth taking 4th overall and has the talent to back it up. He has Jahmyr Gibbs level speed, but he's heavier, so he can be more durable. Not to mention that he was also in a committee at Notre Dame, so he doesn't have as big of a workload already on his body, which will help him out a little bit. He's solid in pass protection, but he's also a really good receiving back. A lot of untapped potential there. He was running routes and running receiver drills at the NFL Combine. He is a weapon. Jeremiah Love would be a weapon, and Cam Ward needs weapons. I don't think that's a debate that anyone is having at the moment. We all can agree that Cam Ward needs help. Look what he was able to do with no help. Get the man some help, and he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Straight up. So get him a great run game and a great receiver out of the backfield. That would be a great decision. And then you add in what kind of scheme fit he fits into Brian Daboll's offense. Brian Daboll needs not only a good running back that's a good decision maker, but mostly they want a tough, hard runner. Jeremiah Love's not necessarily a power back, but he fights for extra yards. He's a great finisher, and he was used a lot in the red zone for Notre Dame. In short yardage, they relied on him to get the yards they needed to get the first down. He's a good finisher. It's exactly what the Titans want. They don't need a power back. They don't need Derrick Henry, but they need a guy who's going to be a tough, hard, physical runner, and the Titans didn't have that last year. Tony Pollard's not that. Tajay Spears is not that. Kal-El Mullings, are you going to really rely on Kal-El Mullings? Seriously? No, absolutely not. So he fits the mold there, and not to mention, Brian Daboll, as an offensive coordinator / head coach, when he's been calling the offensive plays, he's coached 8 top 11 rushing attacks in terms of yards in his career, right? You mix that with the offensive line improvements, the tremendous offensive line improvements that the Titans made last year, especially in the run game. Look at how much better Tony Pollard got. I mean, the Titans went from one of, if not the worst rushing attack in the NFL to around league average by year's end. They were pretty good by year's end. I mean, they definitely look at, how much better Cam Ward got at the end of the year since the bye week. I mean, it's no coincidence that when the run game got better, Cam Ward got better. And so you add Brian Daboll's success coaching a run game and getting the most out of his running backs, and the offensive line improvements, you put Jeremiah Love in that backfield, he could go nuts in year one. He could turn this running game from one of the worst to one of the best in a year, in the snap of a finger, overnight. And you guys wouldn't want that? You guys wouldn't want an exciting, explosive playmaker? When was the last time the Titans had an explosive playmaker? A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry. Where have they been? Not here. Who has been the explosive playmaker since they've left? Who? Nobody. DeAndre Hopkins for a year? Calvin Ridley for a couple of games? That's it. Tony Pollard for a couple of games? No, I want an explosive playmaker that can be a home run threat every time he gets the ball and could absolutely get me jumping out of my seat excited at any point in a game. Jeremiah Love is that player. You give him the ball and he always has a chance to take it to the house. It's plain and simple. So the Titans need really good football players. He would fit well in Brian Daboll's scheme. And I will also mention this as well, Titans fans. The best eras of Tennessee Titans football consisted of what? A great running back. Eddie George, Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry. Those were the best years of Tennessee Titans football, and it's no coincidence that those 3 eras were defined by elite running backs. Plain and simple. The Titans are good at drafting running backs. That's what we're known for. So why not take an elite prospect at running back in Jeremiah Love? And not only would he be the best player available, he has the best chance to help Cam Ward right away. I don't think there's any reason to say outright no to that. It should at least be on the table in discussion, and it is on the table in discussion. The reports came out the Titans are very interested, right? So it's very reasonable to believe that the Titans could take him at number 4. It's possible. And so that, now to answer the question, should they take him at number 4? If my explanation hasn't answered that question enough for you, sure. Why not? There's no reason for them not to unless you want to take Ruben Bain and really help your defense out. And I get that. I would be over the moon with Ruben Bain. But Jeremiah Love, it's hard to say no to Jeremiah Love given how good of a prospect he is and how well he would fit in the offense and help Cam Ward out. So, and ultimately, that's what the Titans need to do. That's the biggest thing they need to do this offseason, is to help and build around Cam Ward, and giving him an elite run game would help him out so much. Look at Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams in year 1 did not have a really good run game. And then you bring in Ben Johnson, you get the most out of DeAndre Swift. You get a lot out of rookie Kyle Monangai, and you go from a top 10 rushing attack, and Caleb Williams had one of the best seasons a Bears quarterback has had in 20 freaking years. Maybe not 20 years, because Jay Cutler in one of those years in the early 2010s was actually very good. But you're talking about one of the best seasons a Bears quarterback has ever had. So look at the year that they had. It was one of the best years the Bears have ever had in a long time. So, that's what a good running back can do for a quarterback. So that's my entire justification and explanation as to why the Titans probably should draft Jeremiah Love at 4. I would be over the moon about it. I would be excited about it. There's definitely a lot of reasons to be. So if you made it this far, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe button. It would help me out trying to grow my football passion or spread my football passion to more and more people on this platform. And also let me know what you guys think. Should the Titans draft Jeremiah Love? Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. That's going to do it for this one. I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. Keeping your eye out for Titans content and also NFL content. Free agency starts next week, which will be exciting. And also I will have a Titans mock draft 1.0 and also my overall first round NFL draft mock draft 1.0 out either later in the week or early next week. So to make take fans, keep your eyes peeled. That's going to do it. And I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I will see you all next time.